The final script, from bulldozers to balance. When looking at modern cities today, we often see something that feels like progress. New glass buildings, towers, revitalized waterfronts, and thriving commercial districts. So from this is the Manchester. But behind nearly every gleaming skyline, there is a history much harder to look at. Entire neighborhoods were demolished. Families were uprooted from communities they had built for over generations. Businesses, schools, and other gathering places gone, replaced by highways, stadiums, and industrial zones. As you can see, this is where they congregated during the times when they were uprooted from their communities. What do we lose when these cities rebuild? Well, this is the question of the documentary. As you can see here, this is where the French and the Canadians congregated for their communities, from grocery stores, living, transportation, and many more such items. Urban renewal has played a defining role in shaping American cities throughout the 20th century. At its core, urban renewal was meant to eliminate blimp and replacement deteriorating housing and infrastructure with something newer and better. When it worked, it brought investment back to the communities that were struggling. It improved transportation networks and created new economic opportunities, but it also came with a price. And as that price disproportionately by poor communities and communities of color. After World War II, American cities faced a genuine crisis. Returning veterans needed housing. Other urban cores were aging rapidly. Suburbs were beginning to draw away from the middle class. As you can see here in this item displayed on the video, this is the urban class in its natural habitat. The legal tool that made this possible was eminent domain, the government's power to take private property for public use with compensation. On paper, that sounds reasonable. In practice, compensation offered was often far below what residents needed to find comparable housing elsewhere, and public use was interrupted broadly, sometimes meaning industrial parks, stadiums, highways, rather than housing or parks that might benefit from those displaced. What made early urban renewal especially damaging was that it was almost entirely top-down. Decisions were made by planners and politicians, not by the people who actually lived in affected neighborhoods. There were little community's input, right? Little transparency and a little bit of accountability for human costs of these decisions. With ultimately, activist and author Jane Jacobs was one of the loudest critics of this area in this era, arguing that planners were destroying the very little things that made up the neighborhood from the hardworking class people, the French and Canadians. Urban renewal, or as many of those displaced came to call it, urban removal. In this photo is described as a factory where French and Canadians worked from communities over, right? Making textiles, making all sorts of economical goods for the community. To understand urban renewal in the cities we have conquered and talked about today, we look at these three case studies: Cincinnati, Manchester, and Boston. All these will be represented today in the documentary as we work forward.
Our first case is Kenyon Bar, a neighborhood in Cincinnati's West End that was demolished in the 1950s and 60s to make way for industrial development, warehousing, and what became known as Queensgate. At the time, city planners identified the area as blighted, but Kenyon Bar was in fact a dense, functioning African-American community with churches, businesses, and a deep social network. When the bulldozers came, thousands of residents were displaced. Most were black, most received little compensation, and were pushed into already overcrowded parts of the city. The goal was economic growth, but what was lost became irreplaceable. A community, a culture, and a sense of belonging that was never fully recovered. Scholars like Mindy Thompson have called this kind of trauma root shock. It's a massive assault on the sense of place that follows the sudden destruction of one's home environment. The economic benefits of Queensgate were real. New industrial jobs and improved freight infrastructure did indeed come to Cincinnati. But those benefits went largely to industries and investors, not to the residents who had been displaced. The West End, stripped of its population base, never truly recovered. Cincinnati represents the cost of urban renewal when economic goals completely override human ones. Our second case offers a very different story. Manchester, New Hampshire, was built around the Amascoke Manufacturing Company, once the largest textile mill complex in the whole world. When the mills closed in 1936, Manchester faced a crisis of identity and economy. The enormous brick buildings along the Merrimack River were sat largely empty for decades. But rather than demolishing those structures, Manchester took a different path, one centered on preservation and adaptive use, as well as community identity. The old mill buildings were gradually transformed into offices, museums, apartments, restaurants, and public spaces. They became anchors for a new economy while honoring the city's history. Today, the mill yard is a point of pride. It tells the story of Manchester's individual past as well as its industrial one, all while empowering the present. What Manchester demonstrates is that you do not have to erase the past to build a future. Adaptive reuse, giving old structures new purposes, can be both economically viable and culturally meaningful. It preserves neighborhood character and community, as well as memory, and it even creates new economic opportunity. This is a model that more cities are now trying to follow. Our third case brings us to the present. Boston's Seaport District represents modern urban development at its most ambitious level. For decades, the area south of downtown was underused industrial waterfront. Parking lots, warehouses, and old piers. It had enormous potential, and over the past 25 years, that potential has been realized dramatically. Today, the Seaport is home to luxury apartments, tech offices, hotels, restaurants, and public waterfront access. It has become one of the most valuable real estate corridors on the East Coast. But success comes with complications. The Seaport is frequently criticized for its lack of affordability and diversity. Housing costs there are among the highest in Boston. Critics argue that it was built for a narrow demographic, wealthy professionals, while doing little to address the city's broader housing crisis.
When we look at these three examples, we can see how cities have changed over time. Earlier projects like Renewal only care about money and did not think about people. And Manchester shows a middle way, group the economy but keep history and culture. And new places like Boston's Seaport try to grow and stay nice to live in, but they still have problems about who gets the benefits. We had better toys now. We think differently, but the problem between growth and fairness is still not fixed. A good city projects really care about the people who live there, and this means like people join the planning from the start, and it means asking who is this for, and who can help, and who may get hurt. And it also means keep the community, like the churches, small shops, and places that feel like home. City development in the US have changed a lot. Now we must think about money, fairness, culture, and the environment. And the best city grow without facing people to live. They bring money in, but stay open to everyone. They respect to the past and build the future. This is not easy. It needs strong leader, people working together, and putting people first, not just money. Manchester show it can work, and cities like Cincinnati show why it matters. Of cities needs balance between growth and keeping things safe, between getting bigger and being fair, between the city we build and the people we build it for.
Through proper stakeholder communication and viable, renewable sources of redevelopment, we can make these communities a better place. Thank you.
We need more diversity!